Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. But before I get started, I see a lot of people are getting shadow banned now by YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to see all of my videos. And we're looking at XRP on the one-day chart, sitting here at $2.51. At the time I'm making this video, XRP slipped back into the green. But we're still ranging sideways. You could see it on the 7-day chart. XRP's been going sideways for quite a while now, fluctuating in between $2.45 and $2.55. We've seen this with XRP in the past. Usually, we see a big move upward once this happens. Will the same thing happen here? Most likely. We have a lot of big things happening in November. And look at Bitcoin back above 110K. I just want Bitcoin to take off already. I honestly would love to see Bitcoin break into a new all-time high. This way it could pull XRP and the rest of the market up with it. But again, it seems like every time that breakout is about to begin on Bitcoin, something pushes it back down. And that's why everybody's calling market manipulation. This bull market is nearing its end, Morgan Stanley says. So take a listen to this.
Cuts are necessary at this point.
No, I think too much liquidity is going to inflate the bubble more quickly.
That is the sense when you have money sloshing around. That does make people
100%.
get a little worried.
Yeah.
Meme stocks may be part of that.
Correct. And we know what happened in 2021. They went up too quickly, and then the Fed changed policy, and they went down a lot. So that's the biggest risk. But what's important, Becky, is that's consistent in the later stages of the bull market.
The one thing that you think, though, is that the market's not as expensive as some people are suggesting here. So that's a bit of a contradiction. How do you?
Well, I think one of the biggest errors investors make is the stock market cares about future earnings, right? So you're taking someone's prediction of what's going to happen, right? When you look at the denominator, if a PE is based on a prediction, is that prediction accurate? And what we saw this year is that the first quarter came along, companies beat, so the full year number should have gone up, but because of tariffs, companies said, we don't know what's going to happen.
Take notice he said that tariffs are also impacting the stock market. But I think he's wrong when it comes to the crypto space. I know a big move is coming in crypto. And I don't think we're near the end of this cycle yet. Not until Bitcoin really starts to break out. That will signal we are now heading to the end of the cycle. 3 signs that institutions continue to drive crypto adoption. And this is coming from Forbes. So what they're citing is MasterCard potentially spending billions for crypto acquisition, Visa embracing stablecoin payments, and Wall Street moving into real-world asset tokenization. And I think they're 100% right. We see it in the crypto space because we're crypto investors already, and we're seeing the headlines. This institution and that institution is partnering up with this company and that company. And you could tie all those companies right back to Ripple somehow, some way, whether it be a direct connection or through a partner of Ripple. But institutional adoption is already happening in this space at a small level. Fun fact, less than 7% of the global population is invested in crypto. And of that 7%, only 0.1% know what's coming next. If you're an XRP investor, you could see where everything is going. Because as an XRP investor, it's all about payments, transactions, real-time payments, instead of SWIFT and the 3-day lag or 5-day waiting period. Plus, payments are very expensive. We already know we're holding the alternative. But it goes even beyond that. You know, you look at real world asset tokenization, that hasn't even boomed yet. We're still waiting for regulations for that to happen. The biggest thing happening in November, in my opinion, is this shift to ISO 222. November 13th could be the most important date for XRP holders in recent years. And whenever they put a date on it, you always expect something to happen that will delay it even longer. Paul Barron says the same thing. Canary Funds just cleared the path for the first U.S. spot XRP ETF. Why this matters. Institutional Access, Bitwise's CIO, predicts XRP ETFs could become billion-dollar funds in their first few months. Rex Osprey XRP ETF under a different structure already crossed $100 million in 6 weeks. 7+ major firms have pending applications. This is a race now. XRP jumped 10% when the SEC dropped the Ripple case. An ETF approval could be the next catalyst. I agree with that. But I think whenever you put a date on something, especially when it comes to XRP, and we all know this as XRP holders, that date comes and goes and nothing happens. It's going to happen when we all least expect it, in my opinion. Top trader Don Alt, who predicted XRP 700% rally, says it's calm at $2.50. It's not luck. It's the boomer base effect. While Zoomers chase hype coins, older XRP holders keep XRP afloat and make it the market's most durable bet. What he is essentially saying is that any older XRP holder is not selling their XRP. And that's what's keeping the price so strong where it is right now, instead of dipping even lower. It's so stable at $2.50 that once the buying pressure begins again, it's going to start to move up very quick. And again, that's something I would definitely agree with. We've seen that in the past, and I think it's the same reason that it takes very little money to get XRP really moving. Committee Chair John Boozman says that the Clarity Act will be voted by committee before Thanksgiving. We're going to get it done this year. I am so hopeful that they get the Clarity Act in place by the end of 2025. If that goes into 2026, most likely it's not going to happen before the midterms. And the sooner we get the Clarity Act, the sooner speculation ends in the crypto space. Everything's going to be about utility then going forward. Morning Crypto Report, XRP to rocket 81% in November. Is it possible? Coinbase CEO teases big month. You know, whenever they tell you it's going to be a big month, usually it's one of those months that seems to just lag by. In other words, you don't see those big price movements like we've seen in the past. However, XRP has a lot going for it this month. Possible ETFs, possible clarity, ISO going live. Then you start to look beyond that, and then we start looking at what Ripple's doing. More companies creating XRP treasuries. Is there another acquisition coming in the short term? Will Ripple get the banking charter that we're waiting on? There's so much to look forward to as an XRP investor, and it's all short term. In other words, we're not waiting years anymore for these things to happen. Bull markets are progressively lasting longer and longer. Once Wall Street begins its run on crypto products, it'll last for a good 10 years. You know, it's like a utility run. Nobody knows how long that utility run is going to last because we've never, ever seen one before. Could Wall Street begin the utility run in crypto? In other words, are they going to be utilizing XRP for its actual use case? Same thing with XLM, HBAR, XDC, and so on. If we start to see the early signs of that happening, you could bet that 2026 is not going to have the dips people are expecting. And that could go into 2027, 2028. Rise of the new financial system happening during a massive utility run at the same time. But it's too early to predict yet. And anybody saying that this run is going to last 10 years, it's like, okay, the 4-year cycle is over. Everything is up only from here. I don't believe that. I think specific cryptocurrencies could run for a long period of time, but I'm not seeing it with Bitcoin and Ethereum. The OGs are already cashing out, moving on, moving into something else. And if they're not moving on from the asset, they're buying the ETF that's associated with that asset instead of holding the actual asset. We see that happening right now with Bitcoin. They're cashing out the Bitcoin and going into ETFs. Then they could collateralize those ETFs and use them instead of just buying something and holding it forever. 100% XRP surge in new users. I think we're going to see this surge continue. I think what's going on right now is a lot of new investors are coming into this space for the very first time. You could tell by the questions that they're asking on X. And once they get here, even if they got here because a friend of theirs told them, if you want to get rich, you got to invest in crypto. It's going to happen very soon, or it's going to happen within the next 30 days. Whatever gets them here, if they start to learn what this asset is, they're not planning on selling it anytime soon. They're planning on buying it, locking it away, and watching the price skyrocket. Once you learn what XRP is built to do, how you see it being utilized in the real world, that changes your whole outlook on this cryptocurrency. And if you look at the chart for XRP, the chart still looks absolutely incredible. Once the breakout begins, wait till you see the FOMO. I cannot wait to experience that FOMO. We didn't really have it back in 2021 because of the Ripple versus SEC case. And it was even hard to buy XRP back then because it was off most of the major exchanges. This time around, I think we're going to see a massive amount of FOMO, and at the same time, we're going to watch XRP start to really dry up on the exchanges. That could really get the price moving. XRP coded weak tease by top U.S. exchange. So this is coming from Gemini. They said next week's looking real, XRP coded. And right away, people said they're going to have some big announcement about XRP. But that's not what they were talking about. They're talking about the Ripple Swell event, which is going to take place on the 4th and 5th in New York. I cannot wait to see what comes out of Ripple Swell this year. Usually Ripple makes one huge announcement at Ripple Swell. What's it going to be this time around? People were speculating it was going to be the ETFs, but we already see what's going on with that. Maybe it's going to be something even bigger. We really don't know. But I know this, the people that are attending Ripple Swell, you take a look at that list, and that tells you you're invested in the right cryptocurrency. But like I said at the beginning of this video, XRP gradually made it back into the green today. But we're still going sideways for the most part. Once we start to break out of this sideways action, I think we're going to see a decent push to $2.80 very quick. Will we break through the next level of resistance and go above $3? I know everybody's hoping that happens. I'm hoping it happens as well. Let's see how Ripple Swell has an impact on the price of XRP this week. And let's hope Bitcoin continues upward. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.